The Spurs advance in the NBA Cup tournament. Yeah, they get a day with the OKC Thunder. But what does it mean overall for the franchise?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. And TGIF. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free to available wherever you get podcasts. You know what to do. Go subscribe. iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Thank you for making Locked On Sports Podcast Network the number 1 sports podcast network in the nation. We definitely appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel right now and get into the middle of the action this season with visiting FanDuel.com and place your NFL bets, live bets that is, all season long. What are we talking about today? We're looking at Spurs. Yeah, good vibes in San Antonio, right? Beat the Lakers in Los Angeles to advance to, well, I guess, play the Thunder. More on that later. But yeah, the NBA Cup tournament is so much fun right now. Spurs are in the semifinals. What does it mean for this team? Are we surprised they beat the Lakers? Are we not surprised? Do you have any shot against the Thunder? Yeah, it's going to be all NBA Cup Spurs Thunder talk right here on Locked On Spurs. Bringing our guest. I guess I never thought I could say, no, I've said it before. My colleague now. He was a longtime friend. Then he became my colleague now here on the Locked On Spurs network. Or I guess we could say a little network, right?
Yeah.
Casey, we can say a little network, right?
Yeah. I mean, technically 2 times over because we're obviously friends, and then we were colleagues, and then we weren't colleagues.
Yeah.
And now we're
Colleagues again.
Colleagues again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look who's back, everybody. You know that guy right there. He is KC Vieira. Follow him on X at KC_Vieira. He is the co-host of the Locked On Spurs post-game shows. Each and every game after the game is over, you can find him, Devin Brown, reacting to a win or loss. Doesn't matter. They're there. They're there for you. More on that later. So, yeah, we appreciate all your work. You do hear the Locked On Spurs network. Wow, that's cool to say, Casey.
It is.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. So,
and likewise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get into it here. The Spurs, they went into Los Angeles, win or lose, go home, continue, advance, all those good stuff there, cliches. And guess what? They beat the Lakers, moving on to face the Thunder. Yay. In the semifinals of the NBA Cup tournament. Yeah. But nevertheless, yeah. Let's just react to the game. I know you and Devin really got into the weeds a couple nights ago about the win, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about it here on Locked On Spurs. Right off the bat, I was not surprised on the roundtable shows, the squad shows we do here. I think I was the only one between us 3 that picked the Spurs to advance. I saw it coming a mile away only because of 3 reasons, and it shined brightly. The San Antonio depth versus Los Angeles was favoring San Antonio. Athleticism favoring San Antonio. Speed, pace favored San Antonio. If Luka and or Reeves aren't going, then it could be a long night. LeBron had just came back. He's starting to look like Father Time is getting the best of him in the fight. But not surprised, Casey, but you were, weren't you?
I was, and I think the overriding sentiment, and this is not an indictment on the Spurs win, because I thought it was a great win. I don't think they skipped a beat in any capacity, and I
not at all
acknowledge. I was more taken away. I thought that was more Lakers being flawed than the Spurs being more than we expected. And the way I don't mean that to sound as, like I said, as condescending as that might sound coming out, because I thought the Spurs did a fantastic job start to finish. But I think that really exposed what the Lakers are lacking for all those things that you said. They're a very top-heavy roster. They're a very imbalanced roster because you have the 3 guys at the top, and after that, not a whole lot that you can bank on. And when it comes to facing these teams that can go 9-10 deep, even if the talent margin isn't there, they can still beat you with the depth and the young legs and the athleticism. And if you're not bringing it that night, the Spurs showed that we're going to beat you with just pure fundamentals of what it takes to win in these games.
Yeah.
Energy, athleticism, everyone being ready, good to go. And that's what they did. And they exposed the Lakers. And you know, I don't want to say it was something that was never in doubt, because a couple nights before that, they almost botched a 25-point lead against the Pelicans. So nothing is in doubt. But that game, for the most part, was pretty much one-sided the entire way. You never really felt like the Spurs were going to lose handle of that game. I mean, expectedly, the Lakers were going to make flurries, because that's what happens. They were going to have a little push, and then they had one last push at the end there. But credit to these guys for having a counterpunch every time.
They did.
I was just so impressed by the fact that when they did hit him with that counterpunch, they did it in different fashions, and it was throughout the entirety of the game. You know, an example, Luke Cornett gets dunked on bad.
He did.
And so Staples Center, Crypto, they're losing it at that point inside the final minute of the second quarter before the break. How does he respond, Luke Cornett? They quickly get a basket. And then on the other side of the floor, he gets a block that leads to a run out and an easy bucket for the Spurs. And all that good energy that was just happening in the building is gone, because it's back to a 12-point game at the break. It was like little things like that, you know, stops in transition and go out and get an easy score. Isolation possessions, De'Aaron Fox and a big jumper down the stretch. They found a whole bunch of different ways to kill that Laker buzz, and I was really impressed by that. Really impressed. That's what stuck out, was that they just they didn't let their foot up. And a lot of the times that we've seen this season, they have eased up on the gas. It felt like not against LA for sure. Definitely not. And it was a great win.
Yeah, now you saw signs of this team leading into the game, going into the game, and getting the W. I mean, you thought, oh, no way, they're going to go into Denver with Joker and the way they're playing right now, and they beat Denver in their gym. Shocked everybody. I did not think they were going to go to Orlando and get a win, but they go to Orlando and get a win. And it was kind of the same situation. Oh, no, what are we doing here? The Spurs go to the Lakers territory in a cup game? Pressure? These kids? They've never been there? Oh, well, no, they did it again. So you saw signs of growth, development, and maturity from this team ahead of the Lakers game from previous wins where maybe people counted them out. And another thing that I liked about the win was, yes, it was a heavy dose of Stephon Castle. He was the MVP of the game. Yes, 30 points. Just, 21 points in the second half, I believe. It just went off. But you got contributions from everybody. And it started with this guy. This guy he set the tone for the game. He came out with energy. Keldon Johnson started knocking down threes, showing that hustle, showing that heart. I really believe, as much as Stephon gets the tip of the cap, and he deserves it, but Keldon Johnson, I love what he said after the game when he said, I am the leader of this team. I had to go out there and set the tone. I have to go out there. And, when I'm listening to him and watching him in the postgame, Casey, I'm like, wow, he's come a long way. And not necessarily from X's and O's, just knowing his role, knowing his place, knowing his spot on this roster. He's embraced the quote-unquote older guy, even though he's very, very young. But he is the longest tenured player on this roster. He was saying things like, he sounded like a coach for a while there. He's like, you can't go out there against this team, Lakers, and just dilly-dally, and, because they'll come back. I mean, he was sounding like he has developed so much in his time with San Antonio. I know you got contributions from Julian Champagnie, double figures, Barnes, double figures, Fox, double figures, Stephon, well, we know what he did, Keldon with the double figures. Everybody that got on that court, Casey, for most of the part, it was a positive. Everything they did on the court was positive for the Spurs. Your thoughts?
I don't see anything to truly take out of that game to have with a negative connotation.
It's tough, right?
That's our job, to try to play a devil's advocate type of dynamic with it that comes with it in this medium. But there really isn't. There really wasn't. What do you the knocks have always been the third quarter this year.
Yeah. They won the third quarter. They won
the third quarter, and they opened the third quarter on a 10-2 run with Stephon Castle either scoring or assisting on every single bucket. And like you said, it starts with Keldon. who has been fantastic now for a year and a half in the role. He's been fantastic. It showed it was a win that I think that, like you said, Keldon set the tone from the jump.
Did he?
13 points in the first, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
knocking out those threes, man.
Just flying from three. I look at it as a game that when you have that type of depth, versatility, probably, I guess, more so depth and versatility at your hand, you're finding different ways to win games. And that's what makes it so encouraging going forward. That's what makes it so encouraging. The fact that it's not just some one singular way that they're doing it, that they're taking care of business. It's without Victor, somebody else every single night that's doing it. I mean, yesterday with the Laker game, I think 49 bench points was what the final tally was.
They won the bench battle, right?
Right. They're not going to win the bench battle every single night, but that's another way that they're getting you. They're finding different ways to get you. Is this sustainable? I think that's the next question, especially if the Victor thing gets any more complicated, which it theoretically could, whether it comes back or not, or he doesn't at some point. But I think now you at least know that you have something, if the Victor aspect does complicate a little bit more, to keep you afloat, to keep you in these games if he comes back at 100%.
Yeah.
You hope that the only question mark that you have is that you hope it's sustainable. And once the word gets out a little bit on what they're doing, the league doesn't catch up to them. And that the ends even things out. That's the only thing in my mind that could be figured out with them.
Yeah. The closest I thought that maybe could be an issue pre-game was, well, we're going to get another dose of Castle and Harper on the court. See how those two jive together, and it worked great. It worked great. They were really playing off one another, slashing, scoring. They're basketball players. They know what they're doing on the court. It's not this, okay, it's your turn. Okay, it's my turn. They were just playing basketball, and that's what you liked about it. Before the break, again, still thinking about, okay, well, what was, I guess, a quote-unquote negative thing? I want to say it's a negative thing, but maybe it is a negative thing. But I'm going to flash a picture on the screen, Casey. You texted me about it.
I knew what you were going to do. There we go. I knew you were going to do that. Jeremy gets a DNP. First time of the season, active roster. Gets a DNP coach's decision.
Yeah.
Can't say I'm surprised.
No.
Can't say I'm surprised.
If there's anything that stood out on the quote-unquote bad side of the game, is probably him, but that's definitely going to be a discussion here on Locked On Spurs again at a later time. He is Casey Vieira, my colleague here at Locked On Spurs. He is the host of the Locked On Spurs post-game shows. We'll talk about that more later on this episode of Locked On Spurs. But no, let's continue talking about the Cup game, the win in Los Angeles, and what does it mean for the franchise moving forward? Guys, it's 2025, almost 2026, and those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to make your health seriously, and ZocDoc makes it easier than ever. Because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's actually about getting things checked out when something feels off. Using ZocDoc scheduling is so easy. Search for in-network doctors and book in the right app. Real appointments times are listed, including same-day visits. No more back-and-forth phone calls or waiting weeks to be seen. Super helpful for routine checkups and those little issues you've been meaning to get checked out. Lets you compare providers using real patient reviews, not ads. Makes it simple to keep your health a priority, even with a busy schedule. I've used it to schedule appointments quickly when I didn't want to wait weeks. It helps you stay on top of your health before something becomes a bigger problem. The app is quick, clean, honestly removes all the stress of finding the right doctor. Stop putting off your doctor appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find an instantly book and a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA.
Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Spurs with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and so much more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Check the link in the show notes to learn more.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Casey Vieira, co-host of the Locked On Spurs post-game shows. More on that later. And make sure to follow me on X at Casey_Vieira. We're talking about the Spurs NBA Cup and a date with the Thunder. Yay. Yay. More on that later. That'll probably be the shortest segment here. I hope not. I hope the Spurs shock the world, but later we'll talk about that in a bit. All right. So that Lakers game, when they won, advanced and everything. You looked at the young guys, and yes, they're aware it's not an NBA title nor a playoff series win, but they had a vibe like, wow, this is huge for us. This is big. They're going to Vegas. Yes, the money is good. And let me tell you, they were talking about the Vegas Cup, just the Cup games in general, days before the actual tournament even began. So they were aware what was at stake. Here's the thing. Sure, it's a cup game. I get it, Casey. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's in the middle of the season. Adam Silver, I think he's did a good job with this format here. But, man, you take any you can get from a franchise that's been out of the playoffs for 6 years straight. It's been down and out, has had 20-something win seasons. That was it.
Yeah.
You have guys on this roster that have seen the lowest of the lows, Keldon, Dev, and Jeremy, the list goes on and on. But here they are. They won something significant in their rebuild. Well, they're out of the rebuild now, but in their next chapter, the next phase of the franchise. This is significant for them. If anything, I think it gives them the big-time confidence, Casey, that they're for real and they're legit. And you take that and you run with the Spurs, and you hope you have a great stretch of the regular season and get into the postseason on a high. I think this is just adding to it. What do you think?
For sure. For sure. I mean, there's nothing to not be proud of. When you do something like this where they're at.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of the notion where people are saying, oh, it's just the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes it is true to established teams. Like, I don't think Denver is necessarily losing sleep that they didn't get to this point. No, I don't think Denver is losing sleep, because Denver's already established, and Denver, they know, regardless of what happens in this, they're going to be ready and playoff ready to compete. Same applies for the Houston Rockets. I don't think they're losing sleep over this, but I think they're in different parts of their developmental stages of getting to that contender status. And we've had this conversation before on our programming, where in the very early parts of this in-season tournament era, now in its third year, we've really seen that the teams who benefit the most are the young teams, the teams who are not familiar with playing big time basketball in a playoff atmosphere that matters, not to the extent of a full playoff series, but basketball that has a different vibe to it. We saw it to a lesser extent with Oklahoma City last year, because I think they're a few steps ahead of where the Spurs were this time last year. But I think the Spurs were the very accurate parallel to where the Pacers were 2 years ago, because the Pacers went to the championship game, in-season tournament championship game, lost to the Lakers. But that was their first real taste of important basketball. So how did the Pacers respond in the next 2 years? They go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they lose in 7 games, of course, in the NBA Finals against Oklahoma City. And I think the Spurs are in a spot right now where I don't think they're going to beat Oklahoma City, but I think it's a very similar situation, because I'm confident that this is going to be a playoff team this year.
Me too.
I'm confident playoff, not play in. I think they're going to be the top team in the West, and they're going to need something like this to open their eyes to it. They're gonna, if they're gonna go anywhere in the playoff, there's a world where if they find a way to take an opening round series, who's waiting for them on the other side of the door? The Oklahoma City Thunder. Brighton, right there in all likelihood. And so being in these high intensity games against high intensity opponents, champions, guys who have done this before, you need your first taste at it if you're going to take that next step. And that's the perk of these in-season tournaments, right? Because usually
for sure,
the only way that you get there is by getting to the playoffs. And now the luxury is that you get a little bit, if you do your job, you get a taste of that a little bit earlier. Again, it's not the full playoff experience, but it's just a taste of it. And I think that goes a long way. And I think the fact that they got to this point speaks volumes to that. There's no, again, people poke fun, and we're guilty of it too, about hanging the in-season tournament banners. I wouldn't.
Right.
We can't do it either. I'm firmly in that camp, but I am also firmly in the camp that there is a lot to benefit to getting from getting in the spot. And I think they're going to do exactly that.
Yeah, and also like too the biggest, one of the bigger ripple effects I like about it is how that win in Los Angeles and now moving forward, it's going to get louder, and that is all eyes on San Antonio now. You're seeing major outlets now saying, whoa, what's going on in San Antonio now? What's going on? They're doing all this without Victor? What? You're seeing more stories about them, about how maybe their depth is even better than OKC. How, I don't know if you saw this, but during a practice, out of nowhere, Denver coach Adelman just says, oh, by the way, y'all seeing what's going on in San Antonio right now? They're good. They're going to be okay. So they're getting that recognition now. But with that comes a bigger target. That target is getting bigger and bigger on their back now. When Victor comes back, it's going to get even larger. So yeah, the Spurs are ascending fast, and this win in the Cup tournament over LA just heightened that. So I like that. And I think they want that. They want that attention. They want that pressure. They want those high stake games, from Stephon Castle to Keldon Johnson to everybody on their roster right now. I think they embrace being now on the radar now. And Casey, I think they're on the radar now among other teams.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think as long as Victor Wembanyama was in the picture, it was going to be not an if, but when. And when is probably this season. And they've probably arrived even a little bit earlier than they thought to the party, because I think most people expected the Spurs to be a top 8 to 10 team, probably closer to 7 or 8 team. I think they expected that. I don't think they expected them to be as good as they are, because if you told us at the start of the season that they were going to be essentially going through the month of November without Victor Wembanyama, and they would not only play 500, but they would also make up a lot of ground and play 12 over basketball. I mean, we'd say, all right, you're probably to take it, but you're probably, I not bet my house on that, because you're probably going to be wrong. And I think that is what people we're probably not accounting for. The depth. I'm not willing to go say as far they have the depth of OKC, but they have depth. And I was skeptical that it was going to be enough for us to we're saying these things, oh, they have so many bodies, blah, blah, blah. I was skeptical. I was like, ready-made players are, I don't think that fully translates to having depth, though, because I wasn't particularly sold, because in fairness, what kind of selling point did we have with this bunch prior? Not a whole lot. Positive selling point, not a whole lot. So you're just kind of going by what you know with what you have. And a team that did play the half of the season without Victor Wembanyama and without De'Aaron Fox, and you're thinking, if this happens again, we're not feeling good. And it's been a testament to them. It's been a testament to the job that Mitch Johnson has done, in that they have found the answers. and they
Yes, they
discovered the answers, and they found something, really special. And you just kind of hope again. You wonder how sustainable this can be,
you know,
because they're not going to play. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to play whatever, win 75% of their games the rest of the way. They're not going to do that. They're going to hit a rut. But it's been a lot to be proud of with these guys for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so far, rookie head coach Mitch Johnson, he's doing a great job. I think I think the other day when we did the roundtable show, the squad show, excuse me, when you rattled off like the record without Wemby, I think I even went back to it later on the show. Casey, did you say 8-3 at that time? And you were like, yeah, they're 8-3. I was like, what?
And it got even better since the last.
And it got even better. Now it's 9-3. So, but nevertheless, yeah, Mitch is doing a good job. And all in all, I mean, this win is just tremendous in this new chapter of the Spurs franchise. This Wemby era, Castle era, Harper era, the list goes on and on. And it just, and I look at this Spurs team, sure, they're not at OKC level yet, but you talked about how they're far ahead of maybe where they thought they'd be. I think if you're OKC, you're probably looking at San Antonio as like the same thing. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. They're right on our tails. A move here, experience there, a trade here. They could really push them into being our number one threat. Because right now, I don't think OKC has a big rival, big threat right now. But the Spurs, I'm pretty sure they're right on their heels. But all in all, good win for the Spurs. But their prize is a game against the Thunder. Well. We'll see.
No prize at all, right?
We're
leaving something.
Exactly.
At worst, they get $50K out of it. So
there you go.
At worst, Keldon Johnson gets his llama.
That's huge. That's huge. All right, coming up next, let's preview tomorrow's game: Spurs Thunder West NBA Cup Semifinals.
New year, new systems, and this time is the time when a lot of us looked at the messier parts of running a business and think there has to be a way to get better, and there is. Today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. If you're ready to make your workday smoother and keep customers connected without the headaches, Quo makes upgrading your setup easier than ever. A streamlined system takes a big difference when communicating with customers. Having calls, texts, voicemails in one clean view keeps everything organized and helps you stay responsive. Being able to share one team number makes it so much easier to make sure nothing gets missed. AI summaries and call login can feel like having an assistant keeping track of every detail. And surprisingly easy. You can work from your phone, computer, keep your existing number, add a teammate in minutes. Make this year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free plus 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Let's talk about FanDuel. NFL Sunday moves fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best way when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, defense tightens, and momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown scorer, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Casey Vieira. Make sure to follow him on X at Casey_Vieira. He is the co-host of the Locked On Spurs post-game shows. After each and every game, you can find him, Devin Brown, talk about the win or the loss. Hopefully more wins as the season goes on. So, Casey, imagine celebrating a win, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, yeah, by the way, your next game you got to play against, yeah, it's only the team that lost once so far this season. just wrecked Phoenix. I mean, left no doubt. Oh, and by the way, you haven't faced this team at all this season. And there's a possibility 50-50 that Wemby could be back. But if the Spurs are going to spur, he won't play. And you get a date with the OKC Thunder for the NBA Cup Semifinals. So, Casey, do the Spurs have any shot against the mighty Thunder?
Yeah. I don't think they win, but I don't think I don't think they're going to go belly up or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's nothing to suggest that they would.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to suggest that this team would do that. They've every test that they've been put through at this point, they've fought. And a lot of those that they fought in, they've won. And a lot of the skepticism that we've had, we meaning myself included, they've shown up and they've shown why you shouldn't be skeptical about it.
Absolutely.
And I am of the belief that they're going to show up again to work on Saturday and are going to give a fight to the OKC Thunder. I don't think they're going to beat the OKC Thunder, even if Victor is back, which I'm increasingly becoming on the pessimistic route along with you, despite him going up to the 5-on-5s that Mitch said. But then again, I thought he was going to be back for LA. And
yeah, so did I. Yeah.
So I mean, take whatever comes out of my mouth with a grain of salt. I think there's plenty of reason to believe that they're gonna compete with OKC. And let's not forget here, Jeff, that this is now gonna tip off a stretch where between Saturday and Christmas, they're gonna be playing the Thunder 3 times.
Ooh, fun times.
But if anything, if you want to learn something about yourself to get tested by a team like that, to know where you are, it's not just get a crack and then we'll see you in 6 weeks to 2 months to figure out where we're at. It's you're going to get a crack at it, and then we'll give you I think between the Saturday, I believe the first of the 2 Christmas week games, one's the 23rd and the Christmas. So essentially you get 2 weeks off, tighten things up, and let's see where we're at again in 2 weeks. And let's see where we're at on Christmas Day. And teams, when it comes to a scenario like this, they don't really get that opportunity to do that 3 times in less than 2 weeks. I do think that the Spurs will give a fight to the Thunder in this semifinal game because, like I said, I have no reason to believe that they won't.
Yeah.
From their side of things. If we're going from the talent aspect alone, of course you're going to say that the Oklahoma City side of things is infinitely more talented because they're the champs. Like they are. But I've just loved the way this team has fought. I've loved the way that this team has been resilient. I love the way this team has shut the skeptics up. And I have no reason to believe that they won't do it again. Right. They won't fight again in this semifinal game.
I look at OKC and I'm like, what flaws do they have? They don't have many flaws. The only flaw I can think of that could creep up is just complacency. Like, well, is there really a challenge for us out there? And basically for those of y'all who are nerds like me, kind of like One Punch Man, Casey, I know you're not an anime fan, but there's this character who is so powerful, so strong, it takes only him one punch to defeat an enemy. So the whole story is just, here's this guy, a god walking around humans, and every time there's a threat, he yawns. He's like, whatever. And then he'll let other heroes try to get them. And then when he just goes, all right, boom, done. That's what it feels like the Thunder are. They're just a one punch man right now. But here's the thing, though. I'm going to say we're going to get an instant classic with or without Wemby. I think this is going to go down to the wire. I think the Spurs are going to be hyped for it. You can't. Stephon Castle won't be hyped for it. Keldon, the way he set the tone against the Lakers, expect the same thing. This is going to be a fun game. Now ultimately, I think that championship experience that OKC has is going to shine. I mean, Castle, Shea, that's a great matchup right there. You wish you had a Holmgren and Wemby. There's a possibility that could happen, according to Mitch. But again, Spurs are going to spur. I would not be surprised if he sits out. But nevertheless, Jalen Williams, I mean, the list goes on and on. Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, can he show his championship experience and help guide this team to an upset win? Casey, let's play. Let's have some fun end of the multiverse here.
Okay.
If the Spurs do beat the Thunder, is that it? As it? You cannot ignore San Antonio. They have to be considered one of the best in the West, right? Or that could just simply be, it was one of those games for the Thunder.
I think most people already are kind of the belief that the Spurs are in the top half of the West. So when you say the best of the West,
among the best of the West. So it puts them Thunder, Denver. Do we count Houston still? I guess. Do we
put Houston there?
Houston and then San Antonio, because
So
there's
you're
still
saying-
Minnesota.
Okay,
So you're still hovering around.
So you're saying okay, so Thunder, that group, and then the Spurs. You weren't saying that the Spurs were in that middle group, and now we're close with the Thunder.
They're okay to the top. Yeah.
Then yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people right now are seeing them teetering in that stretch of trying to get in that middle of the pack, because they're kind of in a gray area right now of their own when you're trying to diagnose what they are, because it is the Thunder and then those teams right in the middle who are viewed as I put Denver at the top of that line, but those contenders, and then it's the Spurs, like that 5-6 somewhere around there,
Right.
then with Minnesota, and then it's just kind of a gap from there.
But
I think if they knock off the Thunder, I think that gives a lot of people the belief that they're in the middle of those teams, beat those teams. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've said it on the squad shows with you and Devin. I love this team, the best team we've seen in years. The record reflects that. They're winning games that many people didn't think. You go into Denver without Wemby, you're going to get the win. Oh, they do. You go into Orlando, you win. You have Ime Udoka call what the Spurs did to them in San Antonio. That they punked us. I mean, these are signs. These are things that are reflecting how good this team is. But I still feel there's a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde in this team still, just a little bit.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Still, because we saw the near collapse in Pelicans. A proven solid team won't let that happen. A Denver, well, I guess maybe Denver would, but a Thunder wouldn't let that happen.
Right.
At all. The Spurs still have that. Now, it's a good sign that they won the third quarter versus the Lakers. That's a sign. Hopefully that's a trend in the right direction now. But again, are we going to get that team that beats Denver, that beats Orlando, that beats Houston, that put a scare for a while in Minnesota until the wheels fell off? Or we're going to get that team? Are we going to get a team that needs heroics versus an Atlanta squad in San Antonio that was just shooting the lights out off them? Or do we have to rely on David Jones Garcia to rescue us? So there's still a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. I think if they get to clean that up, they'll be sitting pretty right now. But as far as the game tomorrow night out in Vegas, NBA, I hope y'all fix that whole slippery court issue that a lot of players have been complaining about.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that slippery court thing.
Yeah.
But
nice. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm predicting an instant classic, and this is one of those games like, oh my God, everybody, you tuning in years from now, when Casey's a grandpa, and I still don't have kids. When I still don't have kids, but Casey and I are on his front porch and we're saying, you remember that game in 2025 Spurs Thunder? Man, that was a game. I think it's going to be. No, I think OKC wins, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think the Spurs are going to give them a fight. And again, Phoenix got rolled by the Thunder, but Phoenix didn't have Devin Booker, I believe, right? They didn't have Booker in that game.
No.
So you put Booker in there, and he's been playing phenomenal this year. Maybe that changes things.
Do you think they pick them off once in this 3-game stretch?
Yes. Yeah. I think they get one. I think they get one.
Yeah.
Especially if Victor comes back for one of those, like the Christmas game,
Yeah.
That could be it right there.
I think they pick them off in San Antonio on the 23rd.
Okay.
I tell you what, man, that Thunder team, it just reminds me so much of what was happening here in the heyday, because they play so hard regardless of the score, and they're up 40, and they're not skipping a beat, and it doesn't matter who it is, and it's not like a sense that they're like running up the score. That's just the DNA that's instilled in them, and that's just all they know. 1 through 15. You know, I checked out admittedly at that fourth quarter, but I can't imagine SGA and the guys and the starters played a whole lot of minutes.
Yeah.
But they just come at you one after another.
They're relentless.
They all have that DNA. And I think that's something else that's going to hit with the Spurs too. Is that when the Spurs were the Spurs, both of the kids on the team were in elementary school.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to have Manu and Pop and whoever telling you all these stories about culture and things like that as a kid, blah, blah, 21-year-old. You know, there's only so much they can do only so many stories they can hear about that. If you want the closest example of what that was, what that is, an identity, a DNA, you're going to get that standing across the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
You're going to get that. All those stories that you were hearing in the past, they're going to relive itself every time you step on the floor with this iteration of the Thunder. Really, I guess really anyone going forward. And they got something waiting for them. And if they're not ready, it's going to be a long night. But I think they will be ready. I don't think ready is enough. I don't think ready is enough to beat them, especially without Victor on Saturday. But I think they'll be ready.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be ready. And keys to the game for me for hopefully a Spurs, win, crossing fingers, is don't get rattled. I mean, don't get rattled. Thunder can put the fear in you, the moment they get cooking. Again, that third quarter, come out strong out of the half and just stick to the plan. Do not and keep that. I mean, because that's the thing. I'm here like, well, do you keep the pace up versus the Thunder? Well, no, because they'll keep the pace up with you right back. Do you slow it down? Well, no, because they got guys that can play in the half court. You're just gonna have to do the little things, getting to the free throw line, connecting on your threes. No minimal turnovers as best you can. If they're already at 19, 20, it's over. It's over. It's done.
Yeah.
I mean, you nearly have to play a flawless game. This team has shown the capability of doing that. By the way, before I let you go, Casey, we've been talking about this since the season began, and I've asked you a few times that we kind of struggle, but I've always asked you, hey, when was the last time we see the Spurs play a complete game? I think this Laker game was probably the next.
Laker one was the first complete game they've played.
The first one, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, the Laker game was the first complete game they've played this year.
They did. Yeah, they really did. So, again, signs of maturity and growth. But ultimately, guys, as far as tomorrow's game, I think Casey and I, we wish the Spurs would go to the finals of the NBA Cup tournament, but looks like they may cut short. But, hey, nevertheless, great stepping stone for the Spurs. He is Casey Vieira. He co-hosts the Locked On Spurs post-game shows you can find right here on YouTube. And everybody asked me, Casey, how do I find it? You got to go to the live tab. Go to the live tab, and it's there. Casey, tell us about that. What's cooking?
We have fun, for better or worse. I mean, you guys already know. You hear Devin on the title pod here. You know what you're getting. You're gonna get the good, candid takes. You're gonna hear us for better or worse, regardless what's gonna happen.
Yep.
If you've checked in on the squad shows with myself and Devin and Jeff, obviously, you know what's going to happen. And so if you more of that instant in the moment type thing, if that's your thing, we'd love to have you. We've had the Laker game. I tell you what, I showed love at the end of at the game the other day. I mean, we're wrapping up at about like 12:25. And we still have like 300 people dialed in with us.
Nice.
And I'm like, when this team wins,
forget about it. Yeah.
This city, these people, they care. And so I think that's kind of what's made it that much more fun, is that they're not only winning, they're winning without Victor, and it's just so great to see people just so happy and engaged.
Yeah.
Obviously, the post-game shows after the wins are always going to do better. It's the wins and the really bad losses. Those are the ones that really, like, the Warriors.
Yeah.
The Warriors loss, I think, was our highest viewed
Of course.
episode.
Yeah.
Or close to the second Warriors loss. So it's the fun wins or the really dramatic losses. Thankfully, we've had a lot more fun wins than the dramatic losses. But yes, you're going to want to hang out with us after every game, right here on Locked On Spurs YouTube channel. And of course, on the next day, if you're a normal person and like to sleep and want to find out what happened about the game after the next day, because you're smart, you're rational, and we're getting a regular 8-hour sleep before you go to work, it's always wherever you get your podcast the very next day too.
Yeah, definitely archive right here on Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Imagine those numbers, KC. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if the Spurs lose to the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard.
If they do lose to the Clippers, I hope it's on a Kawhi buzzer beater, because
no
traffic coming through.
Exactly. But nevertheless, look, we're looking for wins from the Silver and Black. So get wins and losses post game, every game right here on the Locked On Spurs YouTube channel. Click the live tab. That guy right there you see on your screen, Devin and Brown, they handle it for the Locked On Spurs fans here. And thank goodness they're on the team now, because that was probably my biggest struggle for the longest time hosting this show. Just,
hey, you want to tell them the since we learned about it, you want to tell them the growth that we've taken since?
Yeah. So year after year, just growth after growth, natural organic growth. The Locked On Network monitors that. And yesterday we got news that the Locked On Spurs videos, just the fandom here, the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, it's be reflected in the numbers. Casey, what do those numbers look like?
We cracked the top 30 in most growths of all Locked On programming. I think we're number 6. The number was from November 24 to November 2024 to November. There we go. November 2024 to November 2025. That was the scale. And we're number 26 of all programs that
on the network, everybody on the network.
And the second most growth of the NBA shows.
Look at that.
But again, a testament to the everydayers, shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Be an everydayer right now by subscribing to Locked On Spurs wherever you get podcasts. Here, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. If you're locally in San Antonio, the Kens 5 Plus app. Seriously, give us a follow. You definitely want to check out Casey and Devin after every show. Check out me every day on the main show, the mothership, if you will. And because, now with Devin and Casey aboard, I feel like, I don't have to talk about the game because it's already been talked about on Locked On Spurs.
It's pay for what you get, right? You put more into the product, you're going to get more out of it. And as I'm sure we've all learned, and the people above us have learned, that the Spurs fans care.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If you want engagement, you want fun, you want things like that, you want an enthusiastic bunch checking in, you put in what you get out, or you get out what you put in. And
absolutely,
we've been lucky that they've put in a lot into it, and a testament to the job that Jeff has done up to this point to instill that. And I'd like to believe that the three of us, the job that we've done has spoken to it.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess the numbers would indicate that as well. So yes,
the numbers are reflecting that loud and clear. And thanks to you guys for tuning in to Locked On Spurs every single day, as well as the Locked On Spurs post game show and the squad shows. Those are fun. Those are one of my favorite things to do. I kind of like say, okay, what's Devin going to say next? From the Manu thing by the way, I went back to watch that video. You should have seen the expression of between you and me when Devin.
I was a little caught off guard. I thought I missed something.
Yeah.
We often think.
Yeah. I think Devin baited us. Hey, we got something new here. It's called the Everydayer Club, the NBA Everydayer Club. So basically what that is. All right. So basically did Locked On Spurs to make it on your Spotify Wrapped. Well, you can prove it on social media. To secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club, you just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform and you'll get yourself a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite shows ad-free, exclusive access to the member-only Discord channel. So yeah, go check that out right now. I think you just also go to the Locked On Podcast Network website. You can't miss it. There's a big old link there that says Everydayer Club. Click on that for more information. Do that ASAP. We'll be back next week as the Spurs season continue. But as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. You know where to subscribe. Go do that right now. Become an everydayer as well. And Casey, should we just, I don't know. I'm thinking about the OKC Thunder game already. I'm like, just don't make it a massacre, Spur. Just don't let it be like a massacre. That's all I want. Just be competitive.
It won't be a massacre.
I hope so. All right. For Casey Vieira, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.